Hi there. Thank you so much for joining me today for this optimizing your quote to order workflow within Prospect CRM. My name is Patrick Adam, and I will be hosting this webinar today. If you do have any questions throughout this webinar, please feel free to either unmute yourself and ask your question, or raise a hand, or just put in your question in the chat window. I will be monitoring it as we go through this webinar today. So it's definitely really great to have you here with us today. So in terms of our agenda today, in terms of the quote to order workflow, there are three key areas that I would like to cover. And this will be namely the prerequisites that you need to have set up in order to be able to effectively use the quote to order workflow. And these are having your quote template set up and also having the portal configured. Secondly, I will go through how to actually use the quote to order workflow, approving a quote and also paying for a quote. And then finally, I will cover the system settings and basically how we integrate with Stripe so that you can collect payment directly from customers. In terms of the document template and the portal, you're probably asking, why is a document template needed? Well, there are two reasons for this. Namely, this is where the actual approval options are presented to customers. So on your document template, which can be either an email or a PDF document, this is where your users will see the option to approve or decline the quote that you have issued to them. So it's obviously very important and critical to have that configuration set up so that you can issue the documents to the customers and they get the option to approve or decline, and then ultimately, if configured, make payment for that quote as well. In terms of the customer portal and what it is, it's basically a page that is branded with your company's logo and colors. And it's the landing page that customers land on when they click the approve or decline button that they would have received in the quote email and or the quote document that you would have issued out to them. So what I would like to do now is to quickly jump into the system and show you basically how you can go about configuring the actual quote to order templates. So within Prospect CRM, if you go to settings and you go to system settings and you go to emails and documents, you then have a section for document templates. So if you click to configure, and if we look, we've got a various number of different templates that are available. So we have this quote approval document. If I edit that, and we can see the name, the group that it belongs to, it's always good practice to also add a description. And then you can also select a default signature for this template, or you can let the system use the user's default email signature. And we're going to be using this at the quote level. You can pin it to the menu. It's in use, so it's not obsolete, and it has a template attached. You can also attach other files as well. However, if we go straight into editing this particular template, what we see is a very normal template. And what we now want to do is to simply add the approve or decline buttons. And we do that basically within this additional data section. In this section, towards the very end, you have this quote to order workflow buttons. And once we click on that, it adds the authorization buttons text for us. And we can then just save that One thing I would say is if we just copy that piece of text, for instance, and we save that, because the other thing that we would want to do is to actually look at the quote document that is sent with that email. And what we want to do is to click on edit to open up that document in Word. So that document was not the right one, so apologies. Let me upload the actual document that we need. So that's the document now. And if we do that again and open it now, because what I want to show is, so what that looks like in Word. And then simply we can put in our approval buttons. We might just want to make sure we paste special so it keeps our formatting. And you can do that. There is an actual add-on for Word that you can get for Prospect CRM that would allow you to pick your fields, as I did in the UI. I'm using a Mac, so that add-on is for Windows PCs only. But once you've added your authorization buttons, you simply hit save, and this will save the changes back into Prospect CRM. So basically, that's how you can navigate to your admin section, go into your document templates and add the approval buttons for an email template as well as a Word template. The other option I wanted to cover quickly is if we come out of this section and we go into integrations and we go into the operating companies and click to configure, and we click on our company name. What you now have is your portal. So in this section, this is where you can basically brand what your users will see. So you can choose what the primary color of your portal will be and what the accent color will be. So the primary color is the banner at the very top, and the accent color is the color for the button when the user hits approve or decline within the portal. The final option that you have is to add a logo. So we recommend that the logo size is typically 280 by 60 pixels, but it can be less than this or greater than this, but that's our recommendation. And you simply click the upload option and just select the file from your desktop. So we might want to add this as the option. Was the one we had already. So maybe let's pick a different one. And we can add a different logo. Cool. So that's how we go about branding our portal. And we've also looked at how we can add an actual approve and decline / authorization buttons into your quote templates, whether that's an email or a Word document. Cool. So any questions at this point? Cool. No questions at this moment. Thank you very much. If we quickly go back into our presentation. So what I want to dive into next is the actual quote to order workflow. And what we can quickly cover is what are the benefits of customers approving quotes themselves. So really the two main benefits is that it improves efficiency. So you're not having to, get the confirmation from the customer and then approve. It just reduces the number of steps, just makes your life a lot easier. And it also reduces errors. Customers can actually see the quote, they can actually review, they can actually come back to you with any questions before they either approve or decline. And it just makes life a lot more streamlined. You know, if they need to put in a PO number, they can do that directly on the approval page themselves. If they've got any, you know, reasons for declining the quote, they can also express this before they decline, so that you're getting all of the relevant information straight firsthand, as it were, and they're not relaying that to you or to somebody else to then fill out that information, which could then, you know, add a bottleneck and also the potential of errors happening. In terms of customers paying for the quotes via link and the benefits of that, well, again, it basically improves efficiency and reduces errors. So hopefully you're not having to, you know, reconcile bank records to see, you know, what was paid versus, you know, customer purchase order numbers and things of that nature. It's all streamlined and integrated. Also, when a customer approves a quote, that automatically syncs that with your inventory management system. So you're not having to, you know, be another step where, you know, they approve and then you're having to then confirm that order. So everything is a lot more streamlined and a lot more efficient for you and also for the customer. You know, you don't have to chase them to collect payment over the phone, so they can do it in their own time at a time that's convenient for them. Basically, as long as they have an internet connection, they can do it, you know, via their mobile or tablet, whatever device that they find, you know, most efficient. So those are the key benefits of the quote to approval workflow, whether it's just approving the quote or it's approving the quote and also submitting payment. Those are the benefits that you will achieve, and also the benefits for your customer. So what I would like to do now is to actually demonstrate how that quote to order workflow would look for a customer. So what we can do, oops, I think I had a question. Yep, so thank you very much, Sharon. Sorry if I pronounced your name wrong, but yeah, let's definitely look at that and see how that looks. So if we take Flora Farmer as an example, and we create a new quote for her, and we could call this, oops, so as an example. Oops. And I will leave everything as it is in the actual quote. I could have selected to base it on a template. I could choose, you know, who the salesperson is. Maybe we'll make it Chris. You know, I can choose any number of other parameters on here, but for now, I'm just going to leave it as it is and create my quote. Cool. So now we have our quote, and I can simply start to select which products I would like to include on this quote. And I've got some recommendations and some upsell options, but I will just go through, you know, add whichever items I need. So we now have our quote. One of the things you should look out for is the expected payment method. So if it's going to be on an account and they're going to pay via bank transfer, maybe in 30 days, 60 days, whatever that might be, you would leave it as on account. But if you wanted them to pay via Stripe, then you can click on the Stripe option. So this is our quote. Everything looks really great. The next step in that process is to send that quote to our customer. And in doing so, it's selected this quote template for us, and it already has the approval buttons included, which we looked at in the previous setup where we added the authorization buttons. So now, if we're happy with that, we would just hit send. Let me, before I forget, just add my email address. so that I get that email as well, and I can show you what it looks like. So that goes ahead, builds our quote document, and we'll then send it to the customer when it's done. Cool. Cool. So then that's notification that I have now received that email. So this is the email that I received. And in the actual email, we now have the option to approve or decline our quote that we have received. So I might hit approve. And if you bear with me, that's just gone into a different page. So here, we have our logo, we have our primary color, and we have the accent color for our portal. So that's the branding that we have. And as the user, because I've hit approve, I can now add a purchase order reference. I can set the name and my email address, and then I can simply put in my debit or credit card details and then make payment for that particular order. So that's what the customer will see, and that's the steps that they would follow. If they had approved and made payment, then our order would basically end up being confirmed and being sent to our inventory management system. If, however, I'm not happy with the quote for whatever reason, I can hit decline. And when I do, I can't actually decline unless I give a actual reason. So, something of that nature, and then I can hit decline. So let me go ahead and just decline that particular order. And if we come back in here and we refresh, what we now see is it's being declined. So I can resend or restore, but you can actually see the reason why the user declined that particular order. One thing I would say is if a user has declined, you can't just simply resend or restore and send. You would need to create a whole new order because anytime they clicked on the link from the new order that you send, it will basically say that it's been rejected because it still registers the previous rejection. So if you do need to resend, I would say delete this order and create a new one. But otherwise, you've got the reason why they've declined. Yeah. And so the other thing I wanted to show as well is if we were to download our PDF. So in the PDF, you also have the approve and decline button. So you don't have to have it in the PDF. You don't have to have it in the email template, but I generally tend to find it's best practice to have it in both places so the user can approve or decline from wherever they are. And so if I wanted to approve this order now, it tells me I couldn't, it's already been declined. And if I had already authorized it and I tried to authorize or decline again, you would get a similar error, just letting you know that, an approval or rejection has been received. And so, you can't progress any further. Cool. So what we can do is just play back that scenario again. And if we now just new order one. And we can just select the blissful jam. And this time we're not going to have it as Stripe, as what is on account. And maybe, I've actually received the purchase order number, so I can put that in there. But similar scenario, once you're happy with the order, just hit send, and then pick the template you want to use if one is not already selected for you, and simply hit send. So that will go away and send that email. Cool. And then I've just received that notification. And so this is the email that I get. So now if I hit approve, and we see what that looks like. So this is a much reduced form. So we don't see all of the user's details, and we don't see the option to actually make payment. We do see the PO number. The user can update this if they need to, and then they can simply hit approve. So that goes away, approves that particular order. And if we refresh that in our system, we see that it's now been approved and it's waiting to be confirmed. So it's now syncing with Unleashed, which is our inventory management system. And it should go ahead in a few short seconds. Cool. So that's now been approved into Unleashed because the customer had authorized it. So it's gone straight to Unleashed. Cool. Any questions at this point? Cool. So one question we've had in the past is, can you have multiple approvers on the email? So you can send an email to multiple approvers, like I did to myself. However, it's only going to register the decision of one of those users. So if somebody goes in and approves, nobody else can go in and approve or decline, and vice versa. So it doesn't, register multiple requests. It's just going to take the first decision. But that's something that we could potentially look at in future. Another question is, can the expected payment method be automated? At the moment, this is something that you need to remember to select whether it's going to be on account or on Stripe. It does default to on account. So if the customer is going to make payment via Stripe, you need to basically select that. You can set that, after you have issued the quote to the user. So after you've sent the quote, you can always change it to Stripe or move it back to on account. So, you can change if need be, but once the customer's approved, then, that change won't register going forward. So yeah, you need to at least do that before the customer's approved or decline, as it were. Cool. Any other questions? Cool. Okay, so the last thing I wanted to go over really quickly is basically the system settings. So we've already looked at the system settings in regards to the approval authorization or the authorization buttons and setting up your templates. The final system setting would really be the Stripe integration. So currently we integrate with Stripe, and one of the questions we always get asked is, do you integrate with any other payment gateways, whether it's PayPal or WorldPay, that sort of thing? At the moment, we are only integrated with Stripe. Over time, I'm sure we will have an integration with other platforms. So when you actually log into Prospect CRM under system settings, if you have admin permissions and you go to integrations, there is a section for the Stripe integration. I'm already connected to Stripe. However, if you wasn't connected to Stripe, you would get the option to connect. And at that point, you get a pop-up from Stripe. You enter your Stripe login details, and that's basically it. You're then connected to Stripe. And then if you enable payment via Stripe, users can enter their debit or credit card details, and you can collect payment in that way. So that's really straightforward, a really simple way, to improve your efficiency, get payments faster from customers, allow them to pay using a method that they prefer, and at a time and a place that's convenient for them. So I think all round, everybody really benefits from the quote to order workflow, and especially when you integrate with Stripe. So one question that just come up is, are there any automated chaser emails or reminder emails? So we don't have that currently, but that's a really great feature that, I believe has been logged, and we will work on, so that, a week after the payment was sent, if a week after the quote was sent, if payment hasn't been received, then, an email will go out to the customer, and subsequent emails will go out, once a day or once a week, however you might want to specify that, to chase the customer for payment. And then another question is in terms of the portal and better branding. So at the moment, there are just those 3 parameters that you can configure in the portal, being the primary color, the accent color, and your logo. We will, I think, maybe look at, future enhancements to make that maybe a bit more aesthetically pleasing, maybe, but otherwise, those are the options that you have currently. We try to keep it simple so that there's less confusion, and it's just, less work that you have to do at your end, basically. Cool. Any other questions at this point? I know we have just a couple of minutes left of this webinar. Okay, so no questions at this time. Cool. So what I would say as a call to action following this webinar is to go to our quote to order workflow resources page. So that's a page that has a huge number of different resources, and it really goes into depth with regards to all of the different other parameters and settings that you can configure, but also it goes into the rationale, the logic, and also best practices. And there is a video that you can watch as well that guides you through end-to-end, configuring your templates to, collecting payments, setting up quote templates in terms of being able to quote, using standard packages that you might have, and other things. So do go to that URL that you can see at the bottom of this page. If I go back, and you will get a whole wealth of additional resources that's really, really beneficial. Finally, in terms of the next session, that's going to be turning problems into a success. So that's definitely a webinar session that I would recommend that you attend. I think that you would find that, hugely valuable. But that concludes our webinar for today. I thank you very much for taking the time to join me today. And if you have any questions, do reach out to us at Prospect CRM. Thank you very much for your time. Bye.